Welcome back. This is the Week 15 edition of the Word with G Fantasy Football Stardom Sit-Ups. I'm your host, Greg Larner. You sit back and listen, and I'll explain. So we got our 2 Fantasy Football Stardoms and our 2 Sit-Ups. We're moving. This has got to be at least the semifinals for a lot of leagues. So if you're still in it, good for you. Listen up. We got 2 good Stardoms, 2 good Sit-Ups. And yes, it is the birthday weekend. Me and my brother we're going out to Buffalo to see the Green Bay Packers and the Bills play. Why not start in Buffalo with Robert Woods? He's going up against the Green Bay defense who gave up 260 yards to a Julio Jones, Matt Ryan combination last week. I'm not saying Kyle Orton, Sammy Watkins is the same, but Sammy Watkins a good young wide receiver, stature like a Julio Jones week there. The Green Bay Packers definitely don't want to let that happen again. This may open some doors for Robert Woods down the field or over the middle. I like Robert Woods this weekend against a so-so Green Bay secondary. You don't really know what you're going to get. Was that them just shutting down after a big halftime lead? They're on the road. They got to play better. I know they know that. So it might be tough, but I look for Robert Woods to have a good day still. Packers get the victory, but Robert Woods has a decent day. If you got somebody like an Anquan Boldin going up against the Seattle defense, might be a good idea to stick Robert Woods in there purely based on the matchup. So next we're going to go down to Indianapolis with Donte Moncrief. Reggie Wayne has fallen off the Andrew Luck map of late. I know Moncrief had an average week last week after having a huge game the week before, but he's going up against the Houston defense who's allowing the second most fantasy points to wide receivers and 42.1 fantasy points to wide receivers in the last 5 games. I like Moncrief in this matchup, and I like him to get 7 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown. You can take that to the bank. Next, we're going to go down to Cincinnati with the tight end Jermaine Gresham. He's been limited at practice most of the week, and he missed all of Friday with a toe injury. Going up against the Cleveland defense, who's giving up the 11th fewest fantasy points to tight ends. He had a solid last 4 games with 3 touchdowns in total, but missing practice all week or most of the week is too worrisome for me. I'm sitting him on my bench. I had him plugged in there as my starter in one of my leagues, but I just had to take him out because it's too risky for me. I'm not gonna take a risk on Jermaine Gresham at this point. Ryan Matthews. He missed practice all week with an ankle injury. The coaches are still optimistic that he can get out there, but he's going up against the Denver defense who's giving up the 8th fewest fantasy points to running backs. He's very injury prone, as we know. We've talked about it over the year. Even if he does play, he's probably going to be limited or possibly hurt himself again. So, too risky of a play for me, Ryan Matthews. I'm going to sit him on the bench. This has been your Week 15 Fantasy Football Stardom Sit-Ups. It's the Word with G. I'm Greg Larner. You sit back and listen, and I'll explain. We'll catch you next time.